three parts in security topic. Part 1 is principal. Part 2 is securable. Part 3 is permission. If you understand these three terminologies, you can excel the security topic. So what are principals? Principals means who wants to control anything. For example, I have SQL database, right? Database 1. Who wants to control this database 1? Who wants to enter into database? Who wants to manage this database? That is called as a principal. So who can enter into database? Login with the help of user. Okay. And we can have roles, fixed server roles, database server roles, application roles. So these are all called as a principal. Whoever wants to control a product or an object, that is called as a principal. Securable. So securable means the object which you are trying to protect. So what we are trying to protect? We are trying to protect databases. Okay. So then indexes, other objects like store procedures, then other logins. So one should not delete other login, other user, other roles. Okay. All these are whatever you want to protect. Instance, SQL Server instance. So securable is whichever you want to protect. That is called securable. You want to secure these things. From whom? From principals. So what are principals? Logins, user, fixed server roles, database role, application role. Permissions. So the authorization you are providing on objects, these are objects. Okay, under database, table is an object, procedure is an object, okay, index is an object. So on these objects and securables, whatever you provide permission. For example, I have two users. One is Gaurav, another is Sindhu. So Gaurav is a DBA, Sindhu is a developer, let's assume. So we need to provide sysadmin permission for DBA and read-write permission for developer. So we are providing some authorization to principals. Who are principals? These logins. Okay. If you face any confusion, please let me know. We can explain in this better way if you don't understand. So these are logins. Logins we consider as a principals. So on principals, whatever authorization we provide for objects, that is called permission. Any doubts so far?
No, sir.
Okay. So principals are entities that can request SQL Server resources. Fine. Securables, resources to which permissions are granted. Then we, on whatever object we provide permission, that is called securable. Permissions. So every SQL Server securable. Securable means what? Whatever we want to protect in SQL Server. So every SQL Server securable has associated permissions that can be granted on principals. This line is a little tricky. So we are reading it in reverse order. So every SQL Server every SQL Server securable has associated permission. So this is the securable. So this securable needs some permission. If you want to open the table, you need select permission. If you want to write anything into table, you need write permission. If you want to delete this table, you need drop permission. Okay. So every securable has associated permissions that can be granted to whom? Principal. These permissions we can grant it to principals. This is about permissions. So these permissions we can grant or revoke 4 levels. One is instance level, second is database level, third is schema level, fourth is table level. We call it as an object level. So there are 4 levels and 5 types of permissions. Whether if you want to grant, you can grant. If you want to revoke the permission, you can revoke. So if you remember just simple diagram, this diagram, so entire security topic will be very easy for you. Okay. So first, let me go through instance level permission. We already discussed this, right? Logins are only instance level. Instance level. So logins cannot directly enter into database. Okay, this is like Prime Minister. Prime Minister is the head of entire India country. But if he wants to enter into any state, he need association with CM. So in the same way, user is database level principal. So every login must have an user. Okay, without user, login cannot enter into database. So now let's see what are the permissions we can provide to a login. First instance level we will see. So let me open SSMS. I'll go to batch 34. Click on connect. Go to security. So this is instance level security. We are browsing. If you want to see database level, you need to browse this. Go to any database. Under database, you can find a security topic. But right now, I'm not going to database level. I'm going to entire instance level. So instance level, first thing is logins. Open logins. What are the logins here we have? So let me quickly create a login. How to create a login? There are 2 ways. One is graphical method, another is command line. So graphical, right click on new login. So you need to select whether it is Windows authentication or SQL authentication. So I am choosing SQL authentication. So login 1 is the login I'm creating. Okay. SQL authentication password is 1234 1234. So remove this enforce password policy. Login name is login1. Click on OK. So login1 is created here. In the same way, command wise, we can create like this, create login name, login2. Okay. To differentiate this, you can use these brackets. So if it is Windows authentication from Windows, if it is SQL Server authentication, you need to provide password with password. So with password equal to 1234. So this is how we create login through command wise. Done. Refresh this. You can see login to here. Login to. Okay. So now let me log in with login1. Okay. I'm connecting to SQL Server with login1. SQL Server authentication. Login1. Password is 1234. Click on connect. So I connected with which account now? Who connected to SQL Server here?
Login 1, sir.
Login1 connected to SQL Server here, and Hari connected to SQL Server here. Okay. So right now login1 is a dummy user. So he doesn't have any permissions. Let me check. Go to security, go to logins, open this login. So, okay, I'll do one thing. So I have login, right? Let me restart this server. Just a minute. So what are the permissions instance level we can provide? Just go to login one, double click on this, go to securables. So whatever you want to protect, these are securables, search on securables, specific object, all objects, click on all objects, click on OK. So these are the instance level securables you should protect. What are those? Logins are also securables because some other login may delete this login. So you want to protect login also. Server roles. What are server roles? A set of server role is a set of permission, instance level permission. Availability groups. What are availability groups? We will see in future. Endpoints also. Servers. This is server, SQL server. So which is the securable you want to protect? Right now, I want to protect other login. Click on OK. So server level, these are the permissions. Login level, these are the permissions. Okay. So fine. Go to server level. So server level, what we can do? Create a login. This is a permission. Create an endpoint. This is a permission. These are the points, permissions. So if you go to server roles, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 server roles. This is by default. So if it is just connect permission, it has. So if you omit this, there are 8 server roles. Each server role is set of permissions. If you go to bulk admin, you will find some set of permissions. If you go to DB creator, you can have some set of permissions. So all permissions are written here. Okay, so I'll do one thing. Right now, I don't have any permissions, right? Let me create a new login. Who is creating login? Who enter into SQL Server? Which one is using this instance session 67 using by whom?
Login one, Kachur.
Login one, correct. Login one is the user here. So you can see from here also, you can see from here also, under which database we are under master database in this server. So I want to create a new login. Create login 5 with password equal to 1234. So what is the message we got here?
So it does not
User
have
does not have permission to perform this action. So to create a login, I don't have any permissions. We just created a login. See here. We just executed this statement. That's it. We have not given any permission to either login 1 or login 2. So simply creating a login is, so you can just enter into SQL Server. Other than that, you cannot do anything. If you want to perform any action in SQL Server, you should have some permissions. I want to create a login. Who want to create a login? Login 1 wants to create a login. Now I'll go to this login 1. Who is going? Sysadmin, JHK Hari. Hari is going. Where? So see here. So go to logins, go to login 1, go to securable. Now I'll grant a permission, which is create login. Create login. Okay, click on OK. Now go to, so this login information. So we are under login 1 session. Execute this statement. Done. So now you are able to create another login because you have create any login permission. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the thing here you need to remember is graphical wise, it is not recommendable. You can use graphical also, but it is not user friendly. Command wise, it is very easy if you understand the commands. You need to understand only 4 or 5 commands. One is grant, another is revoke. These two are sufficient. Okay, let me explain one by one how you can remember these commands. So open login one, go to securables. So there are 3 types of permissions here. Okay, I'll do like this. So grant with grant then. Okay, I am giving grant permission here. Okay, and I'll give control server is fine. Alter settings. So instance level, alter any database. Otherwise, create any database. There should be create any database. Yes, create any database with the grant. Okay, then view any database. This is deny, not required now.
ఈ
Okay,
గ్రాంట్ విత్ గ్రాంట్ దీని అంటే ఏంటి సార్ ఇది?
I'll tell you. I'll explain what is the difference
Okay.
between grant and with grant.
Yeah. Okay, sir.
Okay, control server, I'm denying it. So I'll explain these 2 differences between both of these in database level permissions. There you can understand very well. Okay, so 3 options I selected here. Instead of clicking OK, I'm going here and scripting out these permissions. Click on script. So now you will get script. This is the script. By script, you can control these permissions. So first thing is grant. So command is like this: grant permission to login. So what are the permission you want to provide and which permission you want to provide? This is the syntax. So here we are granting alter any login to login one. That is one option. Grant create any database. Create any database is the permission. We are granting to login one here with the grant option. And we are denying control server option to login one here. Deny permission to login. So 3 commands, just remember this. And we need to discuss about 2 more commands. Let me open this, click on OK. Okay, login one I am opening. Go to securables. So uncheck any option. For example, I am unchecking this one. Okay, script it out. So this is the revoke statement. Revoke create a login to login one as SA not required. So this is the structure of how you can control instance level settings, instance level permissions, sorry, not settings. Okay. So instance level, if you want to provide any permission, you can use grant. If you want to revoke any permission from anyone, for example, I have Hari login and I have Chandu login. I have Gaurav login also. So I already given some permissions to Gaurav login. Which permission? For example, alter any login. So I want to withdraw that permission from Gaurav. Who wants to withdraw? Hari. So go to Gaurav login, double click on this. Go to that securable. So go to this alter any login permission. Uncheck this. Click on OK. So you are revoked all the permissions Gaurav have. So this is how you can control instance level permissions. Okay, now let me go to database level permissions. There we will discuss about little depth in this topic. So go to databases, go to any database. I'll go to GauravDB. Let me open this properties. Let me check whether how many files it has. Okay, only 2. Fine. So who is the login here? Who entered into this database? In which database I am? On which instance I am? Session number 61. Okay, session number 61. Who entered into session number 61?
Hurry yourself.
Hurry, yes. Okay. So what is the instance we are under?
Instance ID.
Instance name is this one.
Okay. SQL Server instance. Huh?
Okay. So what is the database we are browsing?
Gaurav database.
Gaurav. Okay, fine. So how to create a login? You know this, right? Create login. Login name. For example, let me take L1 with password equal to 1234. In the same way, login user also create user U1. Something will change here per login. You need to mention for login L1 because user cannot survive on its own. Every user should have the help of login. So login and user are both are connected. Okay. So for example, let me create this login. So whenever you are creating login, you should create logins on master database. Remember this. Whenever you create user, you should create user in the database you want to create. So I want to create user under GauravDB. So use master means right now I am under GauravDB. Use master means I'll go to master database here. Now I am creating login. Execute this, done. Now go to GauravDB. Okay. So before going to GauravDB, let me check whether I am able to enter into any database or not. So I am connecting to SQL Server with L1, username L1. Password is 1234. Click on connect. So go to databases, open GauravDB. What's happening here?
It's not permission is not given.
So there is no permission for login to enter into database. That means login directly cannot enter into any database. Login should have its associated user to enter into database. Okay. For that purpose, we need a user. So I am creating a user on GauravDB. Let me create it. Execute this. Done. Now check this. Open GauravDB, refresh it. So you can enter into database.
Right.
You entered here, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you have a login. Your login is L1. You have a user. Your user is U1. So this login do not have any permissions, and this user does not have any permissions. Just they are created. That's it. So they both don't have any permissions. That is why even I can enter into a database, I cannot see any tables inside the database. So if you open real database, there are multiple tables in it, customers, orders, payments, everything are there. But since you don't have any permissions, user one don't have any permissions, that is why he can't see any tables inside GauravDB. Okay. Now if user one wants to see any table, he needs some permissions. Let me go to security under database. This is GauravDB under database security. This security is different and this security is different. This is instance level security and this is database level security. Open this. So go to, okay, I opened storage, security, users. So I have user one, right? I'll browse this user one from sysadmin because I should have some permissions to provide permissions, right? So L1 can't provide any permission if he doesn't alone have any permission. If he has some permission, then only he can give, right? If he has some money, then only he can donate. So if he don't have any money, he cannot donate. In the same way, so sysadmin only can grant permissions. So L1 can't grant permissions to user one. Let me open this. Go to GauravDB, go to security, go to users, go to U1. Now, securables, search for securables, all objects, click on OK. So I want to discuss about database right now. So these all are database level securables. So under database level securables, I want to protect database right now. Click on OK. So this is GauravDB. I am under GauravDB, right? Okay. So user level. So what he can do in the Gaurav database? He can do select permission. Select means read any table. So go to select. Select I am granting. Okay. So otherwise insert I'll grant. Select I'll grant with grant option. Okay. Then update permissions. Okay. Update also I'll grant for now. I'll
అంటే
deny.
మనకి ఏ రిక్వైర్మెంట్ ఉంటే అవి గ్రాంట్
Yes.
చేసుకోవాలి సార్?
Correct.
ఓకే.
Correct. So whatever the requirement, we will grant those permissions only.
ఓకే. ఈ
So
విత్ గ్రాంట్ సార్?
I'll tell you now. Wait for a couple of minutes. I'll explain with grant. Okay. Go to delete. So I am denying delete permission. Click on OK. Instead of clicking on OK, I'm scripting out. So these are the permissions we can give through command line. So grant, with grant, update. So update is also grant here, deny. So these are the three types. Let me come to two more commands. One is revoke. So how to revoke? Open U1, go to securable, search all objects, click on OK, databases, click on OK, GauravDB. So whatever permissions earlier you have given, right? So just uncheck it, script it out. So you'll get revoke. This is revoke and this is cascade. Now I'll explain each and every command. So if you are granting, for example, let me grant a command. Okay, so just a minute. We already grant U1 some permissions. I'll create one more login. Create login. Login name is L2 with password equal to 1234. Then create user U2 for login L2. So whenever you are creating a login, you should be in master database. And whenever you are creating user, you should be in the respected database. Done. So I'm creating L2 and U2. Done. Now let me log in with L2. Connect. Go to SQL Server. L2. Password is 1234. Click on connect. So I connected. I don't have any permission, right? So to control anything, at least to enter into a database, I need select permission. Otherwise, I cannot enter into database. In any table can't be shown to L2. So that is why I am giving select permission. Who is granting? Hari. Hari, what is Hari permission? Hari is a server level sysadmin. Let me show you. Go to security, instance level security, login GHK Hari. So go to server roles. Server roles are set of permissions. Sysadmin is ultimate. So whatever the permission SQL Server has, so every permission granted to sysadmin. So Hari is a sysadmin. Click on OK. Fine. So now I am granting select. See now, grant, what is the syntax? Grant select to U2. Any doubts here on this command?
No.
Okay. So I am granting this select. Okay, done. Now go to L2 user login. Here it is. Refresh this. I can see the tables list. List of tables. Okay. So L2 can see the list of the tables. Fine. So now what is going on here is I want to create another login. Who wants to create an, okay, let me create. So sysadmin is creating L3 also. U3 for L3. Execute this. Done. So user 1 has select permission, right? User 2 has select permission, isn't it?
Yes.
So now user 2 wants to provide permission to user 3. Okay, let me check that. So I'll entered into L2. So right now 83 session is using by L2. So open this database, Gaurav DB. So let me change database, Gaurav DB. So I am granting permissions, grant select to recently created U3, right? Let me execute this. What is the error I have?
Grantor does not. Okay, so means that.
Grantor does not have grant permission.
Mhm.
Okay. So the thing here is, Hari is a sysadmin.
Ah,
Sysadmin can grant permissions to L1, U1, user 1, here user 1. So user 1 wants to provide any permissions to user 2. Okay, then you should have with grant option.
okay.
So if I grant only permission, for example, Hari granted grant select on U1.
Mhm.
So U1 can get select permission, but he cannot provide same select permission to other users.
Another user. Okay.
Okay. If U1 wants to create U1 wants to provide the same permissions to other user,
Mhm.
I should have used instead of this with the grant option. Sindhu, is it clear?
సార్ ఇంకొకసారి చెప్పరా సార్?
Okay, I'll explain you. So I am Hari, and one more thing is Gaurav, and third person is Sindhu. So I have full permissions, right? I am sysadmin. Gauravji, whenever there is no need of talk, you please mute yourself. Okay. So I am sysadmin. I have full permissions. So I want to make Gaurav to see tables list inside the database. To see the table list, he needs select permission. So I am providing Gaurav select permission. How can I grant this? Grant select to Gaurav. This is the syntax. Now I am not available. So Sindhu recently joined with company. Sindhu also wants to see the tables list. Sindhu doesn't have any permissions. So Sindhu requested Gaurav. Gaurav, you have already select permission, right? Please grant me your select permission. You asked him. Then Gaurav tried to give you select permission like this. Grant select to Sindhu. Okay. This statement fails because he himself doesn't have permission for providing other person permissions.
ఓకే.
Okay.
ఓకే సార్.
So if I would have give him with grant option, for example, instead of this, I'll write this statement. How? Grant, I'll write here. Grant select to Gaurav with the grant option. If I mention this,
ఓకే. ఓకే సార్. గాట్ ఇట్.
okay.
ఇప్పుడు
Now
క్లియర్‌గా
Gaurav also,
అర్థమైంది. యాహ్!
yes, Gaurav can also give you select permission. So now this will work.
But Harish, with this
Yes.
grant with grant option, only that means like Gaurav can only give him the
Whatever the
only
permission
select
he has,
permission or-
only that permission he can provide.
Okay, only that specific. Fine. Okay.
Yeah. See, if you have 1,000 rupees, you can maximum donate 1,000 rupees only, right? 1 lakh you cannot
right.
donate. So whatever you have, you can give
can
some
give only
access
that
to.
permission.
Yes, correct. Okay. So in the same way, sysadmin can provide a permission to user 1. User 1 can provide permissions to user 2. User 2 can provide permissions to user 3. This chain goes on. In the same way, so whether sysadmin can give permission or not, he can provide permissions to U2, U2 can provide permission to U3, U3 can provide permission to U4. Now the thing is, if sysadmin wants to revoke permission from U4, he cannot revoke permissions. Sysadmin is ultimate, right? Even though sysadmin is ultimate, he cannot revoke permission from U4. U1 also. So U1 cannot revoke permissions from U3 because let me open this. I'll create this scenario. What's going on here? Okay. So I am creating a database. Database name is permission test. Let me create database on where? Master database. Execute this. Okay. So I don't have permission. Who L2 doesn't have any permissions. That is why I am changing this connection. Okay. Instead of this session, I'll change right click connection, go to change connection. So instead of L2, I'll log in as a Windows authenticated Hari. Click on connect. Now my login is changed. Let me create permission test database. Created, right? Okay, fine. So let me create one more table here. One table. Table name is employee. Okay, done. Okay. Now I'm creating user 1, user 2, user 3, user 4 logins. 4 logins I am creating. Done. So for each user, I'm creating user in database level. So database level, use permission test database, execute this, done. So we have same name. The login name is username, user1, and user also user1. We have login and user. Let me open this permission database. Permission test, open this, go to security, go to users. I have user1, user2, user3, user4. Now let me start playing on this with grant option. So grant select to user1. So who is granting permissions to user1?
Hari, your sysadmin.
Hari, sysadmin. Sysadmin is providing grant to user1. Let me execute this. So now user1 can access to permission database. Let me open this. SQL authentication. U1. The password. I think I forget password. Password 1. Be careful on which login we are logging into, entering, and which login we are working. That part you need to be very careful in observing. Okay. So I am entering into user1 login. SQL authentication, user1. Password is password 1. You can connect. What happened? Who is the user? User1. Connect. What is the error? Login failed for user.
Is
Can't
it case
connect.
sensitive or what? Because that
No,
user
it is not case sensitive.
Okay.
Did I created it? Let me open users logins. Go to security. Refresh. So I have user1, right? Okay, fine. So password. Maybe password is case sensitive. Click on connect. SQL authentication. User1. Password is case sensitive. So user1 entered. Now let me enter into with user2. Connected. User3. connected, user 4, connected. So sysadmin granted user 1 permissions, select permission, open this, go to database, go to permission test, go to tables. He can see the list of tables. 2 tables are there. Fine. So next step is user 1 grant permission to select permission to user 2. So let me open this. So who is here user 1? Because he already got permission with grant option. So grant select to user 2 with grant option. So can I grant permission to him? Execute this? Yes. Oh, can't find user 2. Go to security, go to users. Grant select to user 2. Just a minute. Okay. So I'm selecting to him one more time. Grant select to user 1 with grant option. Done. So I am under master database. I need to navigate to permission test. Now he can see user 2. See this? So user 2, what happened? So note this down clearly. We are doing this demo. Sysadmin is granting permission to U1, user 1, then user 1 giving permissions to U2, U2 giving permissions to U3, U3 giving permissions to U4. So already I from U1 to U2 permission given. This is U1. So now let's go to U2, user 2. So same command, I'm granting permissions to user 3 because user 3 doesn't have any permissions. So permission test, go to tables. He cannot see any tables. Now let's see, he can see tables. User 3. So from user 2 to user 3, we are granting select permission with the grant option. Execute this. Syntax error. Grant select to user 3 with the grant option. What is this error here? Same thing. We need to be in permission test database. So users, if you want to grant any permissions, if you want to create any permissions, you should be in that database. Otherwise, you cannot grant. Done. So now in the same way, go to user 3, he'll grant permission to user 4. Again, you should be in permission database. Okay. So we granted permissions sysadmin to U1, U1 to U2, U2 to U3, U3 to U4. Now, U2, we start from here. User 2 wants to withdraw permissions from grant select permission from user 4. Let me try that. So I'm user 2, right? Refresh this. So under use U3, this is U2 session, user 2. So what is the command? Revoke select from user 4. So this is the command. So command wise, it will show you executed successfully. But in real time, if you go to user 4, go to user 4, permission test database user 4, go to securables, search, database level, click on OK. So select permission, still it contains. See? This is the select permission. So who is the grantor?
User.
For user 4, grantor is user 3. So whoever grants you permission, they can only revoke permissions from you. Otherwise, they cannot revoke from in normal conditions. For example, So if you want to revoke select permission from U4, U3 only can revoke it. U2, user 2 cannot revoke it from U4 because U2 directly did not provide any permissions to user 4. Is it clear?
Yeah, sir. Clear.
Okay. So for example, let me start with sysadmin. Okay, sysadmin, go to sysadmin, revoke select from whom user 4. I should be in permission test database. Execute this. It will show as everything is good, but go to U4, go to search, go to all objects, click OK, go to database, click OK. So database level, if you go here, still it has select permission. Even sysadmin cannot remove permission to where he has not granted permission. This is called as permission chain. So you cannot break this chain. So where you did not provide any permission. Sysadmin didn't provide any permissions to user 4. That is why he cannot revoke permissions from user 4. So if any user wants to revoke permission, he can revoke from his immediate user. For example, U2 can revoke permission from user 3. User 3 can revoke permission from user 4. So in that scenario also, whenever you mention with grant right, you need to mention some other option that is called Cascade. Let me show you. So go to U3. I'll revoke permission from U3 to U4, user 3 to user 4. So this is user 3. Revoke permission. Which permission? Select from user 4. Execute this. What's happening here? What is the error you are seeing? Okay, you should be in permission database. That's it. Because it is telling there is no user 4. In the master database, there is no user 4. In permission test database only, we have user 4. Okay. So what is the error? Can you read?
To revoke or deny controlling privileges.
So whenever you got permissions using with grant option, so at the time of revoking, you should use Cascade. Cascade. That's it. So Cascade means it will break all the permission chains. So now execute this. Yeah, it is successfully implemented. Now go to here, go to user 4. So you can't see any select permission. Go to.
Sir, ఇంకొకసారి చెప్పరా ఇది?
I'll tell you. I'll tell multiple times. It's okay. So now you can't see select permission here. It is revoked successfully. I'll explain you one more time. So now from U3 to U4, permissions revoked, right? User 3 revoked user 4. Now we will try from sysadmin. Sysadmin trying to revoke permissions from U3. Is it possible?
No.
No, because sysadmin never granted any permission to U3.
Okay, sir.
So who can revoke permissions from U3?
U2, sir.
U2. Very good. Now I'll tell you one exception here. Exception is if sysadmin can't control anything, so there is no use of sysadmin having sysadmin, right? So sysadmin also can revoke permissions from U3. How? So if sysadmin use revoke permission from U1, if he revoke permission from U1 with Cascade option, so whoever he granted, U1 granted U2, U2 granted U3, U3 granted U4, all permissions will be revoked at one step.
Okay, sir, fine.
So he can break all the chain by revoking permissions from his immediate user. Who is his immediate user? User 1.
User 1.
Is it clear?
Yeah, sir.
Gauravji, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So you didn't have any control. Without your notice, all users got some deadly permission.
Mhm.
So now you want to revoke all the permissions from all people. So simply you can use revoke command with Cascade option.
Mhm.
For whom? For immediate user, whoever you granted first time.
Okay.
So first time you granted permission to user one, right?
Right.
So if you revoke permission from user one with Cascade, it will break all the permission chain. It will revoke all permissions from all users.
Okay.
So let me do the demo. Go to sysadmin, revoke, select from user one.
Right.
Okay, Cascade. This is the command. So use permission database. Otherwise, you will get error. Let me execute this. Done. Now go and check all users one by one. So user 2, go to securables, go to search all objects, databases, click on OK. So go to here. Have you seen any select permission? Just a minute. No select permission, right? For
Yes.
user 2. So actually what we have written, we revoked permission from user 1.
User 1.
So the same command, since we are using Cascade, it revoked permissions from user 2 also, and it revoked permissions from user 3 also.
Same command user 1, user 2, user 3
Yes.
అలా ఇవ్వాలా
Yes.
సార్? Okay.
No, not required. So
Okay.
we revoke permissions from our immediate user, whoever we granted, right?
Okay, sir.
So sysadmin granted permission for user 1 only. But user 1 granted permissions to multiple users, all permissions will be revoked.
Because of Cascade.
Because of Cascade.
Cascade. Okay, sir. Fine.
So if you don't mention Cascade, command won't work, because whenever you use with grant option, while you are providing permissions, 100% you should use Cascade whenever you are revoking. If you didn't mention with grant option, there is no need of Cascade.
Okay, sir.
Okay, is it clear?
Okay, sir.
Noroji, is it clear?
Yes, Hari. That Cascade is clear.
Okay. Now let me quickly recap all these commands. Now you will understand everything. So these are the commands. Grant any command to user 1. Grant select to user 1 with grant option. You know the difference between grant and with grant now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, okay. Revoke. If you normally provided permission, you can use just revoke insert from. Okay. If you provided permission with grant option, you need to use Cascade. Is it clear here?
ఎందుకు సార్ అలా?
Because user may already have provided permissions to other users.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so if you don't use Cascade, so you cannot revoke permission. If you, so for example, so sysadmin revoked permission from user 1. But user 1 already provided U2, U3, U4, right? The main motive behind this scenario is to protect, to revoke all this permission to protect SQL Server. So where is the protection? If he only revoke permission from user 1, already user 2, user 3, user 4 have same permission. They can misuse that permission, right?
Yes, sir.
So to avoid that scenario, if you use Cascade, all the permissions will be revoked.
Okay.
Okay. Now let's come to deny. So deny command we can use. So you might get some doubt like this. So if you want to remove your permission, you can use revoke, right? Why should you use deny? Because sometimes your company might have 100 users, 1,000 users, 10,000 users. You don't know, you might not be able to see all the user permissions also. Maybe you don't have that much of time. So instead of inquiring all users, whoever has permissions and revoking those permissions, you simply update deny. Okay. For example, from 1,000 users, you have 500 users using select permission. So instead of revoking all select permission, you can deny select permission to those. Even though they have select permission, that select won't work if you deny it. How can we deny? Let me open that. Go to user one. So I'll open GauravDB. Go to security. Go to users. So I go to user one. User one has select permission. Find all objects, databases. Click on OK. Go to select. He has select permission, right? Now what I will do is I'll simply update deny. Okay. So whenever I click on deny, even though he has select permission with him, he cannot work with select permission. Any doubts here?
No, sir. అర్థమైంది.
Okay. So deny is used for that to work on that permissions. So permissions on securables, instance level, grant you know how to use, with grant you know how to use, deny you know how to use, revoke you know how to use, cascade you know how to use. So instance level, don't think about it. So in real-time scenarios, instance level, we don't grant any permissions. Database level, sometimes we grant permissions, but the main thing is we grant permissions at object level. Unnecessary permissions we don't give. So generally in the real-time companies, what happens? So if a user wants to read a table, he only have read permission. If an user wants to write permission, he only granted only write permission. Okay, so unnecessary permissions we avoid. For example, let me go to database roles. So go to database, go to security. Instead of users, I'll go to roles. So I have database roles here. Open this one, writer, DB data writer. So I'm checking role DB data writer. So this role means what? Set of permissions. So this role contains which permissions? I am checking it. Data writer contains delete permission, insert permission, update permissions. So data writer contains 3 permissions. If I give any user writer role, if I assign any user this role, he will by default get 3 permissions. So why should I give him 3 permissions? Whatever he need, I'll give single permission only. So if he wants insert permission, I'll grant only insert permission individually. Why should I give update permission and delete permission? So assigning roles is not good, not a good practice. So in SQL Server, you should maintain least permission policy. To avoid unnecessary authorization. Okay, to protect your SQL Server database and tables, you cannot grant permissions to all people. See, so you have a business, somebody wants to enter into your office. For example, a customer wants to enter into your office, and customer came to your town with 10 of his relatives. Will you allow all his 10 relatives to your office, or only your customer will you allow?
కస్టమర్ ఒక్కరికి ఇచ్చి.
So whoever wants to enter, whoever wants to do anything, we will give that person that particular permission. That's it. Other than that, we don't provide any unnecessary permissions, unwanted permissions. That is why in real time, so we don't assign any roles. If you want to assign roles, you can assign. How can you assign role? Go to users, click on the user, go to membership. So here data writer is there, right? Click on this, click on OK. So then whatever the role has permissions, all permissions given to that user. So you can script it out. This is the script. Alter role, you are changing role. Which role? Data writer. We are adding member. Who is the member? User one is the member. This is the syntax. So in real time, instance level also, we don't provide permissions. User, the database level also, we don't have permission. We don't provide any permissions. Schema level also, we don't provide any permissions. Only object level, that is table level, whatever the tables you want. In the table level also, which permission you want. If you want to read the database, we only grant select. If you want to insert some data, we will only grant insert. If you want to update any information, we only provide you update information. That's it. We don't provide any permission that is not required for that row. Is it clear?
Yes, Hariji.
Okay. So these are instance level permissions. Grant, alter any login, shutdown permission. So we don't give shutdown permissions to anybody. So we as a DBA are the superior in the company to maintain databases. We have all the permissions. We are sysadmin, but except DBA, nobody should have all controls. So whatever they want, we will provide only that control. Unless, see, that is also provided that they need to get approval from their manager. If somebody is coming and asking permission, you directly cannot do. For example, so user 3 has joined recently in the company and he has sent an email to you asking insert permission. You can't provide insert permission unless until he has the approval from his manager. So if he has the approval, then only we provide any permission. So we are the take care staff SQL Server. Okay. So administrative, senior DBA has sysadmin permission. Junior DBA generally have these type of roles. If you want to give permissions, these are individual permissions. Security manager role contains these permissions. Storage admin contains these permissions generally. So operational users, so instance level it is showing, but instance level we don't provide any permissions. Okay. So now let's come to database level. Database level permissions. So we can create any user permission grant. We can grant any this type of roles. Okay. So senior DBA has sysadmin database level. Junior DBA has these roles: alter database, backup database, restore database, alter any user, view database state, select permission. So junior DBA generally has these permissions, and security manager, whoever he has this much of permissions. Operational users. So developers have under database level, they have only this type of permissions. For example, see here. So developers generally have update, insert, delete permissions in lower environments. Lower environments, dev environments, testing environments. So wherever their business, actual business is running real databases, right? That is called as production environment. So in the production environment, we don't give delete permission for developer also. So if you provide any delete permission, by mistake, they can delete any table that may cost you crores of rupees. So consciously, we need to provide permissions. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. So this is about Cascade option. We already discussed this. So sysadmin granted permission to user 1, user 1 granted permission to user 2, user 2 granted permission to user 3. But if user 1 wants to take back permission from user 3 directly, he cannot do that. because there is chain going on. So in that scenario, what he can do is, okay, so he can only revoke permissions from whoever he granted. Let me show you that point. See this.
You can only revoke permission.
User 1 can only revoke permissions where they directly granted. Not only user 1. So any user can revoke permissions where they directly given permission. That's it. So that is about it all. Summary and Cascade. If you want to read this, you can read it. So here also I written one important point. Same point. So you can read all of this. So whatever I already conveyed you, that only here written. Now let's come to schema level. Okay. So today this is enough. We need to discuss one more point here. Customized database roles. We will discuss customized database roles tomorrow and schema level permissions also. So tomorrow we will discuss custom roles, schema level permissions, and object level permissions. Then quickly jump into a multiple topics. We have one topic like linked server, then ARP user. After that, okay, contained databases, impersonation, application room. We have 5 more topics left. And let me stop the recording here.